Welcome to 1 and 2 step inequalities. Slide number 8. We're going to be working with 2-step inequalities on this slide. We're going to drag and drop the missing values to the empty boxes above. And we're going to be then solving these inequalities and putting our answers here on the bottom with the inequality signs and the answers. So let's get started. We have -9 times x plus 3 is less than or equal to 48. The first thing I need to do is I need to decide what to work first because I have a lot of things going on this left side of my inequality. I had to learn when working with inequalities or equations that just get bigger and bigger and bigger and you're trying to solve for x, where do you begin? Someone once told me it's like the movie Shrek, where he says, ogres are like onions. They have layers. Well, inequalities and equations also have layers. And you have to start furthest away on the same side, furthest away from your variable on that outside layer, and you work your way in because the variable is supposed to be like in the center of that onion. So you have to peel the onion away from the outside all the way to the inside. You don't start from way over here because that's on the wrong side. You want to work the same side as your variable. So if I have a positive 3 here, I use my inverse operation to get rid of it, which would be -3. I am also going to be doing that on this side. And they don't give me a -3 down here I'm looking for. I guess I'm just supposed to give the answer. So 48 minus 3 is 45. Okay, so there's that. And we got rid of this 3 because a positive 3 and a -3 equals 0. So we brought down our -9x and we just bring down our sign and we're good to go. Now I have -9x or -9 times x. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I divide this side by -9 and I divide this side by -9. So 45 divided by -9 is -5. Now, here's the trick that you need to remember on what sign you need. You can't just pull down this sign because up here, our variable is being multiplied by a negative number. That means that I need to flip my inequality sign. So instead of a less than or equal to, I need to place a greater than or equal to sign up here to make this solution correct. All right, let's move on to number 2. N divided by 2 minus 11 is less than -7. All right, my ogres are like onions is what I'm going to think of. And so I'm going to work this -11 first. And I'm going to put the inverse operation of positive 11 on this side, which would make -7 plus 11 on this side. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that would be 4 right here. And that positive 11 canceled out that -11. And that just leaves me with n over 2, and then I just pull my sign down. All right, n divided by 2, if I'm dividing, my inverse operation is multiplication. So I need to multiply by 2. So I multiply this side by 2, and I multiply this side by 2. 4 times 2 is 8, and I just pull my sign down because my variable is not being multiplied or divided by a negative number. And this is the solution for 2. I'm going to keep working this with the other ones. I have 4 times b minus 10 is greater than or equal to -8. I am going to do the inverse operation. -10, that would be positive 10, or subtracting 10 would be adding 10. And that cancels this 10 out. On this side, -8 plus 10 gives me 2. And then I bring down my 4b over here. That's 4 multiplied by b is greater than or equal to 2. Since I'm multiplying, my inverse operation would be to divide. So I divide by 4 on this side, which cancels out the 4. 2 divided by 4 equals 1/2, or that 1/2, when I convert it to a decimal, is 0.5. And then I just pull up my sign. It stays the same all the way through because my variable is not being multiplied by a negative number. All right, so now we have 1/3 m plus 11 is greater than 41. Ogres are like onions. We're starting out on that far side right here. The opposite of plus 11 is negative 11. So 41 minus 11 is 30. And that canceled that on this side. I'm going to bring this down. 1/3 m is greater than 30. All right, when you're working with fractions, as you're multiplying fractions, you have to then divide fractions. So that would be 1/3 divided by 1/3. That cancels that out. And then, or you multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 3/1. So I would multiply that 3/1. Then I multiply the 30 by 3/1, which 3 divided by 30 is 90/1, which would just be 90. Hopefully I said that right all the way through. And then I just bring down my sign. It does not change because my variable is not being multiplied or divided by a negative number. Okay, I have negative 1.5c minus 30 is greater than 30. So the first thing I do is my ogres are like onions. I think what's furthest away but still on the same side, and that would be negative 30. The opposite of negative 30 is positive 30. That cancels this out, so I pull everything else down. 30, what I do to one side, I do to the other. So 30 plus 30 equals 60. And then I have negative 1.5c, so I need to divide at this point. So what I am going to do, because I cannot do this in my head, is I'm going to take out my trusty calculator. 1.5c, I'm going to divide that on both sides. So I have 60 divided by 1.5 equals 40, but it's a negative 40 because I had a negative 1.5. So it's 60 divided by negative 1.5. Now, because I have a negative number being multiplied by my variable, or my variable is being multiplied by a negative number, I have to switch or flip this sign right here. Okay, so c is less than negative 40. All right, last one, and it looks like we're doing pretty good. We haven't messed up yet. I have p divided by negative 6 plus 28 is greater than or equal to 30. Ogres are like onions. I have this positive 28 that I'm going to get rid of. So the opposite of positive 28 is negative 28. What I do to this side, I do to the other side. So I have 30 minus 28. That gives me 2. I bring down my p divided by negative 6. At this point, I need to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. So I multiply this side by negative 6. I multiply this side by negative 6. 2 times negative 6 gives me negative 12. Because my variable is being divided by a negative number, I have to flip this inequality sign. Greater than or equal to turns into less than or equal to for this to be correct. All right. I know that we went through this pretty quickly, and I do apologize for that. I was trying to make this video not so long. But if you did not understand and you need more visuals, please, 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 please watch this video here. It goes through everything. It shows you every step. It is a longer video. It's about 15 minutes, but it shows you every single step. Here you had to visualize what you were doing as you were plugging in your numbers here, and you might have gotten lost. So take the time to watch this video on slide number 7 if you do not feel comfortable moving forward.